Welcome to In Pursuit 360. So, yes, I'm coming at you from the car again. Let's see how the background noise is. I've got a new mic set up, so hopefully that'll help reduce some of that background noise, and we'll see about the shakiness. But anyway, hey, today we're going to be talking about doing interviews over Skype or Zoom or some kind of some kind of online thing. I know during COVID, they really started to get into it, and now it seems like they're just continuing it. So, what advice or tips can there be for doing an interview over Skype or Zoom? I don't know. Let's find out. Let's get into it. All right, here we go. So, yeah, doing interviews by Skype or Zoom or whatever digital media that agency may be using. As you can tell, it's not quite as free flowing. I can't quite get my finger just right when I'm going into the transition into the new part. So I don't know. I got to kind of get back into this whole driving and talking thing. Hopefully, it sounds okay. I'll be getting a lot more content out if I can do this. But anyway, tips and tricks for doing your interview online. Let's just say online. That way, I'm not sponsoring anybody. Nobody's sponsoring me. So you don't give me the money, I don't mention your name. No, I'm just kidding. All right. So first off, try not to treat it like it's anything different. You're going to dress the same. So dress the same. So you dress up in your suit or, whatever it is that you're going to wear, your professional attire, and set yourself up someplace quiet. Now, what if you don't have someplace quiet? What if, I don't know, you got kids running around the house, right? Or like me. Now, I only got 3 dogs now, but there was a time I had 9 dogs in my house. Doing an interview online was nightmarish when I had so many dogs in the house, because it didn't take much, and the little one would yipe, and then the other little one would yipe, and then they would go on and on and on, right? So you need to find someplace quiet, someplace isolated that you're going to be good to go. If you have a problem with that, if it's hard to get a quiet place within the house, maybe your local library. A lot of libraries have small interview or study rooms that you can use and that you can rent. So look into that in advance. Go to your local library, find out if they have these little rooms and what you have to do to reserve them, and then reserve the room. Then you can go in there and you can do your interview there. It's quiet, you can close the door, you can put a sign on the door that says interview in progress or something like that so nobody knocks on the door, and try that, right? So someplace nice and quiet. Set yourself up. Make sure that your phone or your iPad or your laptop or whatever device it is that you're using, make sure it's compatible with whatever the agency is using in advance. So in other words, practice signing on. Go in like Zoom, right? Zoom, you can go in and you can schedule a meeting for free. Go in and schedule a meeting and then go sign into it. Make sure that your device is going to work with it. There is nothing like there at the last second going to sign on and all of a sudden you can't get on. And then you're having to try to communicate with them going, oh, I can't get it. Oh, can you resend the link? And, go test all this stuff in advance. Now, this is just getting prepped. This has nothing to do with actually doing the interview itself. So anyway, make sure you're prepared in advance. That's the biggest tip in the beginning, right? Dress the same as you would for an in-person interview. Get a nice quiet place that you can go that's dedicated. And if you can't, then go find one to rent. Anyway, and so get yourself prepared. Make sure you can sign on. Make sure you can sign on to whatever system it is that they're using. All right? The next thing is going to be, well, now how do I conduct myself? So you want to check your sound, right? So maybe get a buddy of yours or something like that to go sign on somewhere else, and then just try talking in a normal voice and make sure that your sound works. So make sure that your sound's good, and let it. Are you sounding grainy? Are you low volume? I know there were times I was making these videos, especially in the car, there was a lot of background noise. Or I had a mic set up that for some reason it was just low volume. It didn't come across loud at all. And I don't know why that is. I don't know why it was doing that. But I tried to remedy it, right? I used a different mic system where I would talk louder, or like now I just went and I just bought this whole new system. So hopefully that's going to work. Yeah, Dum Dum was getting right on my tail. I don't know if you can see him in the camera back there. Dude was like right there, and now now he wouldn't pass me. But anyway, all right. So now you're gonna you checked your sound. Now that's good. So the next thing you need to do is when you're talking to them, you need to look at the camera. Be very careful about not looking at the camera. If you're looking at their picture on the screen, you won't be looking at the camera, and it's going to look like you're looking off to the side. So right now, if I'm looking at the camera is here, right? The camera is here, and right now I'm looking at the camera. But if I look at the screen and I see myself, it almost looks like I'm looking off this way, right? So, sorry, I had to change lanes. So, make sure you're looking at the camera while you're talking. Now, in your peripheral, you should be able to see the way that a lot of these Zooms are set up. The picture is pretty well right in front of you anyway, but you need to make sure that you're looking at that camera, so that it's kind of hard when you're sitting on the other side, and they may do this to you and not even realize it. It's awkward talking to somebody when you think they're looking off to the side and they're not looking at you, even though you really are. So look at the camera. Look at the camera while you're talking. Be careful about fidgeting and stuff like that. Just because you're not in the same room does not mean that they cannot see or sense what you're doing, right? And if you're not used to talking on a camera, practice that too. Set yourself up a practice session. Hey, you know what? SpartanTrainingSystems.com, my parent company, if you will, to In Pursuit 360, is online, up and running right now, doing coaching for these interviews. So come on over to SpartanTrainingSystems.com, links in the description down below, and you can sign up for a free 15-minute consult. We'll get together, we'll talk about where you want to go, and then yes, there is a charge for the coaching sessions, right? But I've checked. I mean, I'm very, very low compared to everybody else out there offering the same thing. But I'll coach you and run you through some mock interviews. Run yourself. Hey, you don't have to pay me. I'm trying to make a few bucks, but nothing says that you can't get your buddy on the other side of the house or over at his house, and you all can't get on a Zoom call together, and you can run through a mock interview, and then let him critique you, let him grade you. But it's something you can do on your own. Or, like I said, you come on over, Spartan Training Systems. I'll be more than happy to help you out. Give you some advice and tips. We can run through a full mock, make you get dressed up and everything. And I'll just have a series of questions. We'll run through the series of questions, and then I'll take some notes, just like the interviewers are going to do. And then at the end, we can do a verbal critique, or I can write you up a critique and figure it out that way. But your friends can do the same thing for you. Yeah, I'd love to make a few bucks, but sometimes the economy sucks right now. So if your pockets are tight, I don't blame you for just using your friends, right? Use your friends, have them do it. Anyway, so those are about the best tips I can give you. Practice in advance. Make sure you have an area set up. Prep everything. Make sure you practice logging in. Get a buddy to sit on the other end of the Zoom meeting and critique how you're doing. Other than that, I mean, there are no other tricks as far as answering the questions. The theories behind answering the questions are all the same that we've already gone over. So, do the best you can with it. Have fun with it. Just be you. Just figure out. I mean, look, I've had to try to figure out how I'm talking to a camera and there's nobody else in the room. How do I make this exciting? How do I put inflection and stuff in my voice when I'm sitting in a room by myself, or in this case, I'm sitting in a car by myself? Good thing is people driving by think I'm just talking on the phone. They don't realize that I'm actually videotaping this. So anyway, and I've got sunglasses on. So when you think I'm looking at the camera, I am watching the road. So I am being safe. So anyway, but do you see what I'm saying? So you got to get used to doing that. You have to get used to it. The only way to really get used to that is to just practice. Go practice. And yeah, so that's it. So practice your online interview skills, and do all that preparation we talked about at the beginning. Do all that prepping ahead of time so that you don't get caught off guard. Excuse me. So don't get caught off guard. Don't be sitting there trying to reach out the last minute going, the link doesn't work, help me, right? Try it all in advance. Get all that stuff set up. Sometimes the link won't work. But anyway, be prepared for that too. What if the Zoom thing doesn't work and you end up having to call in? Well, now there's no visual. Now it's all verbal. So yeah, there you go. Oh, by the way, if you're doing the Zoom thing on camera and you want to take notes, make sure you ask them if it's okay. I remember I told you before in some of the other interview things, it's a good idea to have a notepad and a pen and ask them, do you mind if I, take some notes while we're doing this? They may say yes, they may say no, but when you're on camera, don't try to sneak it in there, right? Ask them, hey, do you mind if I take notes while we're doing the interview? Well, I guess maybe you can. Why would you need to do that? Well, why would you need to do that? Some of the questions are multi-part, right? If the question is multi-part, you want to make sure you're jotting down key points in that question while they're asking it so you don't forget. If you don't have a notepad, there's nothing. If they tell you can't take notes and they ask you that multi-part question, there's nothing wrong with answer the first thing that you remember and then ask them. If you don't remember what the whole question is, don't guess. Ask them to go back and repeat the question for you. Ask them to go back and repeat part of it so that you make sure you don't miss anything. And then when you're done, tie it all back in together with a brief summary. All right? That's just a tip on answering a question, not necessarily doing it online. But there you go. That's the whole thing for you. All right, so in the meanwhile, do me a favor. If you haven't already, hit the subscribe button down below. The bell notification will tell you when the next video is coming out, and give me that thumbs up. If you have to give me the thumbs down, give me the thumbs down, but do me a favor and tell me why. Nobody's telling me why. Every now and then I get a thumbs down, but usually that's because, I don't like that thin blue line flag. So there's no thin blue line flag this time, all right? So if you got to give me a thumbs down, something wrong with the content, tell me why. Subscribe, hit the bell notification, give me that thumbs up if you don't mind, and we'll see you next time here on In Pursuit 360. Meanwhile, be safe out there.